Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm being joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on a Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Friday fun day? How you doing on this evening?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day. Good to be here. Good to be joined by all of you out there. I just want to say this up front, no QB or not to be, because a bunch of moves decided to be made within the past 4 days. So we cannot bring back QB or not to be because quarterbacks
QBs are all gone.
Yeah, like Jameis Winston and Baker Mayfield and all those quarterbacks, they're all gone. So we can't do a QB or not to be, sadly. But nonetheless, we're going to continue with the show because we do have news, as we expected when Pat McAfee announced that Aaron Rodgers would be coming on the show on Wednesday, and that is the topic we are going to be talking about. So Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show, and he essentially said that he was 90% retired going into his darkness retreat. Then he came out, and he basically said he saw that the Packers had a little bit of a change of heart, and they were openly shopping him. And then he decided, you know what, let me play. And he said on the show that his intention is now to play and play strictly for the New York Jets or retire. So that basically means my idea that he would play for the Packers is completely out the window. So I'm going to ask you, since he essentially said the only reason why this trade hasn't gone through is because the Packers are trying to dig their heels into the dirt and try to get proper compensation for him. So do you think when it's no longer an if, it's now a when? Do you think when Rodgers goes to the the Jets, that he'll be successful next year?
I do.
Okay.
I think they'll be pretty successful with him. I mean, that's really what they were missing as a quarterback, elite quarterback, and now they've got one. And I think he's going to really step up here. He probably feels a little dissed by the Packers, even though he said he didn't. He felt fine. Everything was fine. He rooting for Jordan Love and all that. He also said, and I want to ask you what you think about this, he said, I'm the greatest player in Packers history. Yeah, how do you feel about him saying something like that in a public statement?
Very arguable. Very, very arguable, and I think he's probably right with that.
Yeah, he's first in all the key quarterback categories, but in terms of winning championships, Bart Starr's got him beat by a long shot.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
I would say Bart Starr is the greatest Packer, personally, but I'm old and
I'll give it to Rodgers.
I watched Bart Starr play. You never saw him play.
I never saw Bart Starr play.
He was great too, and he was clutch, man. He never. I don't think he lost maybe one. I think he lost one championship, 1962. But other than that, he won every championship when he was quarterback. So he was a great quarterback. So I think that he's going to go there, and they're kind of they're bowing down to him a little bit by recruiting these receivers that he wants, right? They already traded for one. They signed one of them as a free agent, yeah. Lazard. He wants OBJ on the team. That could be disruptive, getting him on there. And he also wants Randall Cobb. Seems like they ought to be able to land him. He's pretty old, right? So, but that makes you wonder what the Jets are going to do with their receiver core and how this is going to affect the chemistry of the Jets, and particularly in their locker room, as Aaron Rodgers getting his way, coming in making a lot of money, basically dissing the receiver core that they have, and maybe they'll have to trade some of those guys. I don't know. I mean, what are they going to do with them? Some of them were good. The Wilson is a very good receiver, and Aaron Rodgers didn't say anything about him. How is that going to go down in the locker room? I wonder. You have a thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna let you give your take, and then I was gonna jump in, but I found it very funny when Diana Rossini reported that Aaron Rodgers had a wish list about how many receivers he wants, like an Alan Lazard, like a Mercedes Lewis, like a Randall Cobb, and I was waiting for the names like a Donald Driver, a Jordy Nelson, a Greg Jennings,
yeah,
all the receivers that he was talking about last offseason that he wanted the Packers to bring in. I found it funny because the Jets went out and signed Alan Lazard. And Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show and he said that he never made a list of demands to basically to give the Jets.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. But you know what? Aaron Rodgers likes to toy with his words. He brought up the immunization instead of saying he's not vaccinated. He said immunized. And then we talked about on the show last offseason that Aaron Rodgers was reported by, I believe, Diana Rossini again, that he was looking for $50 million a year, $150 million contract. And Aaron Rodgers came out in the public and he said, no, I don't want that. I think it was about a couple weeks later. Lo and behold, breaking news. Aaron Rodgers signs a 3-year, $150 million fully guaranteed contract. So I'm not going to believe what Aaron Rodgers says when he comes to saying he never made a list of demands, because maybe it wasn't demands. Maybe it was like, I strongly suggest you take a look at X, Y, and Z. Now I'm going to say this about Allen Lazard. He's a very, very good 3. Very, very good 3. Maybe he's a okay 2. So Allen Lazard, formidable. I would say he's a pretty good acquisition, because they probably are going to get rid of other Mims or Corey Davis. So that I have no problem with. I will say this about Randall Cobb. Aaron Rodgers last season begged the Packers to get Randall Cobb. Barely threw it to him. Essentially, he was a no-go. And in the playoff game 2 seasons, or I guess it was 2 seasons ago, he complained about it. 2 seasons ago in the 49ers game where he lost 13-10 after he won back-to-back MVP, first time since I believe Peyton Manning to do it. And he put up an absolute dud. That's why I said it was about 75, I believe, percent chance that, or 75% of the blame goes on Rodgers. He threw it to him once, and it was, I believe, the last throw of the game for them. It was in like double coverage, and it was basically saying, let me just try to get it to you and hope you can make a play. Since Rodgers complained about not having Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb on the team, and then the Packers went out and got Randall Cobb, he's been basically a no-go. And Mercedes Lewis, a 38-year-old tight end. He's a blocking tight end. Offensively, we're talking about in the passing game, he's basically a no-go. He's not a target you want to throw to. They got the guy who was on the Bengals, Uzama. They got him. So I feel I found this very funny that Aaron Rodgers isn't even on the team, and he's holding the Jets hostage with the amount of people he
hasn't even got there yet.
So I found that very, very funny. So Aaron Rodgers, good job. The question of will he be successful, I want everyone to take a look at this, because I think it is very, very important that we do dissect this. This is what Aaron Rodgers' quarterback opponents were last year. He played Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields and Jared Goff twice. He lost to Jared Goff twice, lost to Kirk Cousins once. He played Tom Brady. He beat Tom Brady. He almost lost to Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappi. He lost to Daniel Jones. I believe he also lost to Zach Wilson as well. Taylor Heineke. He played Josh Allen and Tua, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Ryan Tannehill, and Dak Prescott. Most of these quarterbacks are not very good. Let's be honest. Brady, we saw how Brady played last year. He played terribly. Brian Hoyer and Bailey Zappi. He almost lost to Bailey Zappi and Brian Hoyer. He threw a pick 6 in that game to Jack Jones. I believe he's an undrafted. No, he's not undrafted, but he was a rookie. Daniel Jones. We don't think Daniel Jones is all that. Zach Wilson. He got benched twice in one season. Taylor Heineke is right now on the Falcons. Taylor Heineke also got benched for Carson Wentz and Sam Howell. Dak Prescott. We know Dak Prescott is maybe a B quarterback at the very best. Ryan Tannehill. We all know he's washed. Jalen Hurts, he's a great quarterback right now. Baker Mayfield, he did beat Baker Mayfield. Tua was not healthy in that game. He threw that game away. And Josh Allen. Josh Allen regressed a little bit, but he's still a really good quarterback. How about going into next season, who, when he goes on to the Jets, who he'll be up against? Tua twice, hopefully healthy. Josh Allen twice. We'll see how he does. With another year in the post-Brian Dable. Daniel Jones again. He already lost to Daniel Jones once. He plays Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. Bryce Young is the reported draft pick, but it will be a rookie quarterback. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, etc. The Falcons. Are they going to stick with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke? That's what I put down, because that's right now their quarterback. Russell Wilson. Jimmy Garoppolo, who he has a 1-3 record against. Deshaun Watson. Who knows if he'll come back. Jalen Hurts, Ryan Tannehill, and Dak Prescott again, and Mac Jones with an actual offensive coordinator that is not a defensive coordinator trying to call offense. I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to be that great. I'm just saying that's a little bit harder of a situation for Aaron Rodgers. Are we sure that Aaron Rodgers will be successful this year? Take a look at the Packers' schedule next year. the Lions twice, as we know, the Vikings twice, the Bears twice. They play the Steelers with Kenny Pickett. Who knows if that'll work out next season? Play Daniel Jones again. They play the Falcons. They play the Miami Dolphins. They play the Raiders, the Panthers, the Chargers, the Rams. Who knows if Matthew Stafford's going to be healthy? The Saints with Derek Carr. Derek Carr just had a horrible season last year. Up against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Or Kyle Trask, depending on who wins that starting job. And the Chiefs. I would say the Packers' schedule is a little bit easier than the Jets' schedule next year. So, and Aaron Rodgers came off a bad year. And what also was pretty funny is that he was complaining about his receiver talent, and he wants to bring some of those receivers onto the Jets, who are a brand new young team. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
So you tell me, would he be better on the Packers next season? Yeah, he would, because he's playing less competition.
Let's tell us what the Jets. What are the Jets looking at in terms of their schedule?
They're playing the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Raiders. I put it up before, I believe. Yeah.
You put the quarterbacks up. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, it is. Let's see if we can get that back up. Here we go.
Put it back up.
Here we go. So he's playing the Dolphins twice.
Okay.
The Patriots twice. The Bills twice.
I'd say he's in a tougher division than he was last year.
Absolutely.
Right? Much tougher division.
Absolutely.
It's going to be much harder for him. I don't see him
not
beating...
only a tougher division, a tougher conference.
I don't see him beating Miami twice, right? Maybe he splits.
With a healthy Tua, I don't think so.
I don't think they beat the Bills. Maybe. They beat the Bills last year with Zach Wilson. So maybe they split with them. They probably can beat the Giants, although that will be a great game, the battle for New York, right?
Aaron Rodgers lost to the Giants last season.
Yeah. And the Chargers, I'm not sure the Chargers are going to be that good. He can probably beat them. I don't think he can beat Kansas City. Can beat Houston. Atlanta, I think he can win that game. Actually, that part of the schedule looks pretty easy. Patriots, well...
I didn't add the Commanders are also on here, who have Sam Howell or whoever.
Oh, okay. So you missed that one.
I missed one of them, yeah.
Okay, let's start over then. And so Washington, I think they can beat them.
Okay.
Dallas, I don't think so.
Okay.
Denver, yes, I think they can beat them. The Raiders, yes, I think they can beat them. Miami, I think they can beat them once.
At Miami or...
No, not at Miami. They lose that
home
one.
against Miami, okay.
Yeah, okay. Then New England, I think at New England, I think New England will win that game.
You're capping, but okay.
Yeah. And then the Giants, I think they'll win that one.
Okay.
Then the Bills, I think they'll lose that one.
Home against the Bills? You're saying the Bills?
Oh, they're home against the Bills. I think they'll split with the Bills, so I'll give them that one.
So, okay.
Miami, did I give them to Miami?
You gave them Miami when they're at home.
Okay.
So on the road,
split. No. The Patriots, they'll beat the Patriots once. Kansas City, they're going to lose.
Okay.
The Chargers, they're going to win. Philadelphia, they're going to lose.
Okay. At Buffalo, you said they split.
Cleveland, they'll beat them. Houston, they'll win. Atlanta, they'll win. That's 10 wins. Should get them into the playoffs.
11 wins.
11, I'm sorry. Wins. 11 wins. That should get them to the playoffs.
And their win total went from 7.5 to 10 with Rodgers. I don't know. I might not give them the Chargers, depending on how it works out. And I definitely don't. I think they sweep the Patriots. So I'm saying 10 wins as well.
Okay. I thought we said 11.
Oh, sorry, 11 wins. Yeah. They should win 11. If they win if they don't get into the double digits.
Guess what? If they don't win 11 and they don't get into the playoffs, they're going to have a locker room problem, because Aaron Rodgers is not a team-oriented guy, and now he's disrupted the team already by dissing their receivers and bringing in his own team of receivers, which the Jets have bowed down to him for, and I think that's a bad start. I really do. I think that sends a bad message to the rest of the players. How they react to it, we'll see. If they win all those games, and winning cures all, right? Nobody's upset when you're winning.
Right.
So if they falter, then it's going to be a problem. That's my prediction.
I'm quickly going over if they did play, if I'm doing if Rodgers was on the Packers, how many they would win, and I'm taking a look at it. I just quickly doing a rough draft. I have 10 wins for the Packers next season.
So they probably get in too if he was playing for the Packers too.
I think it would be truthfully. I mean, I I said that they split with the Bears because the Bears are adding essentially everybody on the open market. They got Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills. I can't name every. That's the one notable guy.
I picked up a decent receiver, more.
Yeah, DJ. That was in that trade, the number 1 overall pick trade. So I don't know. The Jets right now in the AFC East, Rodgers is the number 1 or number 2 best quarterback in the AFC East. I think that's undisputable. Now the question is though, overall, how can he play? Because he doesn't work well with young receivers. That's probably why he not the man's wish list that he came up with the list of those players.
He never played with OBJ. I don't know why he would suddenly pull that out of the air and say, I want OBJ.
Who doesn't want to play with OBJ? Yeah. They what he did with the Rams. He would have been Super Bowl MVP if he didn't tear his ACL.
I wonder how good he can be. He's torn his ACL twice now.
I agree.
Right? Same knee?
I believe it is the same knee. Yeah. So, I don't know. They should be very successful. Should be. But how does Aaron Rodgers work with the... That was my big knock on it. Rodgers doesn't do offseason. Doesn't work with young talent very well. Just ask Romeo Doubs. He was asked, did you ever, talk to Rodgers outside of, the games? Did you ever have dinner with him? No, he never invited me to. We never had a dinner together. He doesn't do offseason, doesn't do OTAs, doesn't do, work with young receivers. And the Jets are an extremely young team.
Yeah.
So how would that work?
Could be a chemistry problem.
It took until week 11 for Rodgers and Christian Watson to connect. And it was a beautiful connection. Just imagine how they would connect if Rodgers actually worked with him in the offseason. They could have started maybe week 1 and had that connection. But it took them until week 10 to finally connect.
The New York sports media is going to have a field day with this, just like we're having right now. It's going to be something to watch. It's going to be there's going to be a lot.
Very happy.
There's going to be a lot to watch here, and the Jets fans should be happy. Aaron Rodgers is a great player, and I do think he'll make them better. They had a decent team. Their only weakness really was at quarterback last year. They basically were good in all other facets of the game.
Now the question is though,
what do you think about the coaching of the Jets?
It's a defensive coach. The league is moving towards offensive coaching. Robert Saleh seems to be. He almost made the playoffs with Zach Wilson and Mike White and Joe Flacco starting last year. They were literally 1 win away from doing it.
Yeah.
If they didn't collapse. I guess it was 2 wins away. If they absolutely didn't collapse, they couldn't score a touchdown the last month of the season.
I know. Well, that's the problem.
If they didn't fall apart, they would have had a good. If Mike White wasn't broken, like he got absolutely shredded in that Bills game. If he didn't get absolutely assaulted in that game, they might have actually had a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But he wasn't healthy. Zach Wilson.
You put any of that on the coaching? What happened to him faltering in the last month of the season?
It matters, I think.
I do too.
But
I think it matters.
I'll give Robert Saleh this. He didn't make Zach Wilson play. He took Zach Wilson out when he was literally a major detriment to the team. I will give him that coaching-wise. Yeah. A lot of coaches won't do that. You draft a guy number 2, you're playing him until he basically dies.
You think if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, they'll fire him?
No.
You don't think so? I'm not so sure.
I think he's done too good of a job thus far. From where the Jets were extremely desperate. They had the number 4 defense last year. That shows promise. And it looks like they have a lot of talent. I think they keep him. I would give him next season, and depending on how, because I think they can go 9-8 or whatever, and he would stay. The next season, I think that's where he's on the hot seat.
Don't you think they're playing for the Super Bowl, though? Because
it's at least
Rodgers is just a 2-year player, really, I think.
He's a 1-year player. The Jets have him on
2 years left on his contract.
He's going to play 1 year. If he was 90% retired going into this season, what's he going to be next season if he doesn't succeed?
Well, if they get deep into the playoffs, I think he'd come back. If they win a Super Bowl, then I'd say he's done.
Yeah. He's done. But
I don't see him winning a Super Bowl, but I do. I see him getting to the playoffs. Whether they can make any progress, Aaron Rodgers hasn't made much progress in the playoffs for a long time, right?
It's been, I think we're up 12 years now.
Yeah.
12 years last time Aaron Rodgers made a deep playoff push.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could say 2020 when he was in the NFC Championship, lost to Brady, but last time he was in the Super Bowl was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then, I believe he's 7-9.
Yeah.
Losing to Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, and in an elimination game, Jared Goff. Those are his last 3 elimination game losses. Bad. And that I'm going to my grave. You could analyze this any way you want. In the second half of that take a look at the first half and second half of the Packers offense. The 49ers didn't do much differently. They tried to stop Devontae Adams in the first half. They couldn't. They slowed him down a little bit, and then Aaron Rodgers started just force feed, try to get to Devontae. It didn't work. I'm going to my grave saying that Aaron Rodgers was the reason why the Packers could not do anything in that game against Garoppolo. I watched that game back. Garoppolo started, I believe, 0-7. 0-7 with, I think, 3 or 4 drops. He didn't complete a pass until like the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah, well, the weather was pretty bad that day, too.
No. It was only in the fourth quarter it started to get really bad. It didn't snow.
It was cold, though.
Aaron Rodgers plays in Lambeau Field.
I'm talking about the 49ers. It took them a little while to get used to the cold.
That's where Aaron Rodgers should go, knife to the throat and say,
well, he did. The first half, they played pretty well. They had the lead. They had the lead.
7 points. It was 7-0.
Yeah.
There was no offense. He was a back-to-back MVP. He threw for almost 40. I think he threw for 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns, 4 picks, and he threw 7 points against Jimmy G's dead offense.
Well, he was playing against the 49ers defense, which is pretty good.
He played against top 10 defenses throughout the season.
Yeah.
Couldn't do anything. They stopped the run game. The running game is why they lost to him earlier in the year.
No, you got a good point.
Couldn't do anything in that game. So, Rodgers, playoffs should be the obvious. Super Bowl is where Aaron Rodgers should be at because we're 1 year removed from him being back-to-back MVP.
Yeah.
And look at the difference. Here's the thing. Now's the question. Is Davante Adams the reason for Aaron Rodgers' recent success? I think that's a very viable question. I think that's because take a look at Rodgers without him.
Well, he's not going to have an elite receiver with the Jets, right?
It's Garrett Wilson's close. He just won Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's I would say right now Garrett Wilson in the league is a B+ receiver at the very minimum. B+ receiver.
Uh-huh.
Now the question is,
can he step up to be a superstar with a brand new quarterback?
And Aaron Rodgers is a great guy to do it because he can still throw the hell out of the ball. He is probably the best arm talent ever. We're talking about accuracy wise. He doesn't have a good motion. He throws it on his back foot. That's horrible mechanics when you're a quarterback.
He can just flick his wrist and it goes 50 yards. I mean, it's amazing how that guy's got.
It really is incredible.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I said he should go to the Packers. He had the Packers. Good job of the Packers.
Yeah.
They finally put their foot down and said, "Hey, it's up to you. Are you coming back or not?" And when Rodgers said, "I don't know, I'm going to go into a darkness retreat for 4 days," they said, "Okay, yeah, we're just going to say Jordan Love's our quarterback. We're going to shop you."
It's kind of a replay of the Brett Favre situation, right? He made some noise. They wound up trading him to the Jets, and the same thing happened here.
We talked about it in the last episode. We said their careers are parallels to one another.
Yeah, they are.
Now the question is, though, will Rodgers play another 2 years after this and go to the Vikings? Now that would be crazy.
That would be something.
That would be something else.
Actually, it'll be 1 year, right? Because Favre was 1 year, and then he went to the Vikings for 2 years.
Yeah, You're right.
Yeah.
So.
That would be interesting. Well, I doubt it, but we'll see.
That would be quite interesting.
So we both think that the Jets will make the playoffs next year, and they'll win at least 11 games.
They should.
That's our prediction right now, before he even gets traded to the Jets.
They should. I don't know. I'm gonna need to see how free agency ends and how the draft does. But as we're saying right now, they should win 10. They should be in double digits in the win column. That's the number one thing. So. We'll make our standing predictions later on in the year, but as it is, as I throw my pen, yes, they should be at least at 10 wins.
Yeah, okay.
Let's get into our next topic.
Said
11 wins,
yeah.
at double digits at the very least.
Yeah.
Let's get to our next topic because the Patriots have made some moves in free agency, which is a shocker. They recently signed Juju Smith-Schuster to a 3-year, $33 million deal with $16 million of that fully guaranteed. And Jacoby Myers was very vocal on social media when that actually broke. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. I could bring it up, but he was very, very surprised. He's a cold world LOL on Twitter when the news broke about Juju Smith-Schuster signing the same. It's not the same type of deal because if you dig a little bit deeper in Jacoby Myers' deal, it's really a 1 year and then you're done for the rest of the 2. But as is the words in the contract, they each have a 3-year, $33 million deal. So. They also have a number of signings, which we'll get into in this topic here. But if we're focusing on Juju Smith-Schuster right now, do you think the Patriots made the right choice with the wide receivers available? Do you think they made the right choice in signing Juju Smith-Schuster?
I would have preferred they got DeAndre Hopkins, right? That would have been, he's an elite receiver. I don't think that Schuster is an elite receiver. I think he's probably close to Jacoby Myers, although he didn't get the kind of production that Myers got last year playing with the Chiefs. When he was playing with the Chiefs, he didn't. Jacoby Myers was a clutch receiver for the Patriots. He, as you mentioned to me earlier,
incredible third down
receiver. He's really clutch there. Schuster will have to show whether he's got that or not. Schuster's been a good receiver. When he was with the Steelers, he was good. He had some good games, and I think he's worth 3 years, $33 million, $16 million guaranteed. I think he's worth that. Do I think he's an elite receiver? No.
I'm going to agree with you. He's not an elite receiver. I was not happy with this.
I would have preferred the Patriots hang on to Jacoby Myers.
As would I, because Juju Smith-Schuster's a TikTok guy. He likes to be on social media making TikToks, and he's had a little bit of an issue. There was a time where he danced on the Cincinnati Bengals logo. He got blasted in that game too. It was a little it was a dig route. He got absolutely blown up, but I didn't like this one. Jacoby Myers, if you talk about motivation, he went undrafted, kept his head down, worked very, very hard, and became the Patriots' #1 dependable receiver. Regardless of where he was on the depth chart, Devontae Parker may be over him at some point. Kendrick Bourne might have been over him at some point. Nelson Aguilar could have been above him at some point. He was the #1 most reliable receiver the Patriots have had since Julian Edelman. And now we're taking a look at it, and they didn't offer him what he got on the Raiders. Instead, you go for a guy that his production came as a slot receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes throwing in the football. I'm gonna go a little bit of a risk here and say that Mac Jones is not Patrick Mahomes anywhere near him in talent. At least.
I would agree with that.
So why don't you give a guy who's been in the system for 3 years, 4 years, you give him an opportunity, you pay him the same amount of money, to give him the big bucks that he deserves the type of money he got with the Raiders, which is the exact same as Juju Smith-Schuster's getting with the Patriots, and allow him to continue in the system. I don't understand it. I also don't understand why, when you have a Jerry Jeudy or a DeAndre Hopkins, you go for option C, which is Juju Smith-Schuster. Reportedly, all you need for DeAndre Hopkins is a second-round pick. The Patriots, if they have a wide receiver 1 in DeAndre Hopkins, who else do you need at that second round? I don't understand it. And I also don't understand why the hell the Patriots are bringing back everybody. Generally, when you want to bring back everybody, you either made a deep playoff run, you at least were in the playoffs, or you won the Super Bowl. Hence, look at the Rams in 2021. Look at the Bucs in 2020. They wanted to bring all their players back from their Super Bowl runs. The Patriots are bringing back everybody. Take a look at this. I brought up a list of every single free agent move since free agent broke up until today. Look at the re-signees compared to the free agent signings. If I had to quickly look at this, I believe it's a 2-1. It might be one off from a 2-1. But you brought back Jabril Peppers, who was a pretty okay safety. Oh, by the way, for those who are watching on YouTube, the numbers are the Pro Football Focus ranked in their position, just to put some clarification to it. Miles Bryant, I talked about him. He's a small safety, he's a small cornerback, doesn't hit very hard. Just watch the Bengals game. Same thing with Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones and Miles Bryant in that Bengals game got torn apart by bigger receivers. Jonathan Jones, if you put a decent to great receiver in one-on-one coverage with Jonathan Jones, he will get beat every single time. Carl Davis, not a great defensive tackle. Raekwon McMillan, not a great linebacker. Depth at the center position. He was ranked 33rd out of 36. He's a depth guy.
I'm not sure McMillan is not a good. He hasn't had that much of an opportunity yet. He was drafted 75th?
No, he's not. No, that's his ranking at his position.
Oh, at his position. What's the 81?
Out of 81 qualified linebackers.
Oh, really? He's ranked that low?
Yep.
Well, I think it's more because he didn't get an opportunity to play much.
Why you bring him back? Why you bring back Mac Wilson, 73rd out of 81?
Yeah, him. I'm not.
Connor McDermott. So. They literally signed 2 offensive tackles in free agency, and they want to bring back Connor McDermott. They got Riley Reif and Calvin Anderson.
Peppers is a good re-sign, and Jonathan Jones is a good re-sign.
Jalen Ramsey was on the market for a little bit. You could bring him, but apparently not. You got James Robinson, who is his peak year was his rookie year when he had a 1,000-yard season. Last season, he was ranked, look at it, 54th out of 60. He started off with the Jaguars, moved on to the Jets. Didn't play very well in the Jets. You got Mike, I don't know how to pronounce the name.
Yeah. I would say that
Gesicki,
they re-signed these guys, but most of them aren't starters, right? Only Jonathan Jones.
Jonathan Jones and Miles Bryant are starters.
No, Miles Bryant's not a starter.
He's a starting.
He's not the starter.
Who's the second cornerback?
They use what's his name? The Green Goblin.
He's released now.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He got released today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got released today.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jalen Mills was out last year. I don't think he played many. Or at least I didn't see him play many games. So
I don't know whether he's going to be the starter or not. Maybe Jack Jones is going to be the starter.
He was in Belichick's doghouse.
Yeah.
He was put on the suspended list.
Is he back with the team, though?
I assume he is. He was put on the suspended list late in the year.
Yeah.
But you signed Juju Smith-Schuster when there are two better receivers on the market. You got James Robinson because Damian Harris probably won't be on your team. You still got Ramondre Stevenson out there, who's a very, very good running back. He had 1,000.
Calvin Anderson looks like a pretty good sign.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was on the Broncos last season. The Broncos had a horrible offensive line. They gave up 55 sacks. He was on the Broncos. Yeah, Broncos last season. I'm not sure if he started. He started 7 games. The Broncos gave up 55 sacks, most in the league, tied for most in the league. You also have Mike Gesicki, who wanted out of Miami last season, and he's trying to replace Jonnu Smith. I'm actually mad with the Jonnu Smith trade because
62nd out of 73.
Correct. He didn't get the production under 2 offensive coordinators. One that wasn't an offense coordinator, let's be honest with one another, wasn't an offense coordinator, and one that didn't know how to use a 2 tight end set. Now you give a guy who literally had the best 2 tight end set with 2 great tight ends. And what's crazy about this is that the Falcons, I believe he's the head coach of the Falcons, Arthur Smith, who was the OC of the Titans when Jonnu Smith had the most production, and the reason why Belichick overpaid for him, Arthur Smith. So he rejoins with Arthur Smith. I tell you right now, Jonnu Smith is going to have a great year next year. We're talking about great. He'll have probably 500 yards and I want to say 4 touchdowns. Considering what he was at, that's a great season. Jacoby Myers went to the Raiders, same deal. A higher rated receiver than Juju Smith-Schuster. Jalen Mills, 115 out of 118. Yeah, he wasn't a very good cornerback. Not a very good cornerback. And then Devin McCourty retired. Jake Bailey got signed today with the Miami Dolphins.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are the Patriots doing? Now, what I don't understand is make some noise. You have $21 million in salary cap. DeAndre Hopkins said that he'd be flexible with his contract.
I don't know why they didn't go after him. I would have thought they would have gone after him.
There was also rumors early. He got signed already, but
Hopkins?
No.
He needs to be traded, right?
Right, he needs to be traded. But there were rumors that the Patriots were going to target Philip Dorsett before they signed Juju. I'm just going to say, Philip Dorsett, you're going to bring in.
He's still playing?
He's still playing, yeah. He got signed to, I believe, the Texans. But I don't understand why this ideology for Belichick is bring everybody back. Your defense was okay. Your defense was really good. Your offense you need to work on. So instead of bringing back all of your defenders, some of them weren't even that good, how about you focus on getting offensive talent?
Well, they got some draft picks.
You signed a bunch of people that are on the offense, but James Robinson, he's a decent number 2. Or he's a really good number 3.
I would have to say Damian Harris is a better running back than him.
Maybe. He didn't have a great year last year because he couldn't stay healthy.
He got hurt, yeah.
Like, congrats. You signed Juju, and now what are you going to do now? Are you going to make more offensive moves? Who knows?
Well, they may watch and see what happens with some of the other players. I mean, there are going to be some that are going to be cut and let go, and they've had pretty good luck picking up other players that other teams didn't want. So,
and think about it though, your division got exponentially harder, and you're sitting here waiting, re-signing players. Congrats, you went 8-9 last year. Yeah, let's bring the band back together after a great season.
I think they look at that. You know what? I think they look at that. They went 8-9. There were 3 games where they made mistakes and lost the game. 3 games where one mistake by a player really cost them the game. So I think they look at that and say, you know what, we could have won 11 games with this team. We just made too many mistakes. So let's clean up our mistakes, bring back most of the talent that we had, and maybe we can win 11 games.
Not
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I think that their own division keeps getting tougher and tougher, right?
Here's the thing, right? You say they could have won three more. How about this? I'll raise you this now. Take away the Jets games now, because they had Zach Wilson. You're not beating Aaron Rodgers twice.
Probably not.
So now you're at a net one if Aaron Rodgers was on that team.
But the schedule should be easier this year because they didn't make the playoffs. I don't know I haven't looked at their schedule yet, but it's got to be easier than it was last year. They had a very hard schedule, Nate. Right? Look at their schedule. It's very hard.
It was ranked the
hardest in the league.
Hardest in the league.
So it's got to be a little easier than it was last year. So there's got to be some other teams in there that they're going to be able to beat. But I do agree. I think.
Well, we have the opponents here.
I think their division is one of the toughest in football now.
Right. I would not argue that, but we got to look at the Patriots right now. They play the Commanders.
They should win that game.
Cowboys. That's a loss.
I don't know.
That's a loss. Stop it. That's
okay.
That's
next,
Broncos.
They should win that one.
Raiders.
Again, they're playing the Raiders again. I got them winning it this time.
Oh, stop it!
They're gonna win it this time.
Stop it! They got Jimmy G over Derek Carr.
Yeah.
At Dolphins.
Dolphins.
They lost.
At Dolphins, they lose.
Okay. Then we got at Bills.
They lose that.
Okay. So then, at Jets. With Aaron Rodgers.
I think they lose it.
Okay. Chiefs.
They lose that one.
Chargers.
They win that one.
Eagles.
They probably lose that one.
At Giants.
They win that one.
Colts.
They win that one.
Saints.
They win that one.
At Steelers.
They win that one.
And then the three at home. Bills, Dolphins, Jets.
Bills, Dolphins, Jets.
Home against all three of those.
All three of those. They got to win them. That would give them 11 wins. Yeah.
So we're looking at best, 8-9.
You think so, yeah?
At best, 8-9.
Well, we'll see.
Because you're telling me that you think with Jonathan Jones, once again, one-on-one coverage against the Jalen Waddle?
They got to beat the Bills. They're going to beat the Bills once this year.
They can't stop the Bills.
They got to beat the Bills once this year. They haven't beaten them in like 3 years now.
How? Okay, I'm wondering. How many times in the past 3 seasons have the Bills punted? 4 times at most? 4 times at most?
Yeah. Not very often.
I think they went, 1.5 games without them punting a single time?
Punting, yeah.
A single time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only reason why they beat them the first time was because it was in 45-degree winds. 45-mile-an-hour winds.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's going to be hard for them, for sure.
Let's be realistic here.
I'm not sure that schedule is that much easier than last year's. Actually, when you look at their opponents in their division have strengthened themselves, right? The Jets have strengthened themselves a lot.
Oh, and also,
Miami is at least, it was tough last year. They just they had the injuries to Tua that hurt them.
I want to say this about Juju. I just realized the Chiefs were also in contention for this. The Juju was a crucial part of how that, besides Travis Kelce, it was really Juju was the other guy that Mahomes was throwing it to. I believe Juju almost had 1,000 yards last season. The Patriots outbid the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't even think he was that valuable to that team. The Patriots outbid them.
Yeah.
Seems
maybe they look at it now as it doesn't matter that much to Mahomes who his receivers are. He's productive.
Could be.
The way that the Patriots looked at Brady, they never had the elite receivers around him.
But it was Brady.
Yeah, well, look, it's Mahomes. Mahomes is elite quarterback.
And so, that's the thing, though. Is Belichick still thinking he has Brady? Because generally, Brady was able to go out with an Aaron Dobson or a Josh Boyce or whoever else they had and go out, win playoff games, and win Super Bowls with guys who would be wide receiver 2s and 3s on other teams. You have Mac Jones, who's not Tom Brady, and you're adding him with... Let me just quickly take a look. Let's all take a look again. Who are they signing? Trash. Or at least on their way to be trash. Gesicki hasn't been great. About middle of the pack. James Robinson, look at that. Juju Smith-Schuster. They gave away a higher rated receiver. They adding offensive talent. Offensive line talent. Their offensive line was the worst. One of the worst in the league in pass blocking.
Schuster's ranked above 50 percentile there, 43rd out of 100.
Yeah, but look at Joey Myers, he's 27th. 27th compared to 43rd.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see. Doesn't have Brady. He sure is acting like he does.
I know.
He's got Mac Jones, and he don't even like Mac Jones.
I know.
8-9. at the very best. Because they don't move in free agency. And that's Belichick's problem. They can't draft receivers. They don't go out and get talent. They overpay for talent when they get desperate, which is what the Jets are going to do with Rodgers. They're going to have to overpay. We're talking about maybe 2 first-round picks for Rodgers, but who knows. But anyway, coming up, Lamar Jackson goes public about a reported contract he was offered by the Baltimore Ravens back in September. Schefter confirms the report, and we discuss what the hell is wrong with the Warriors on the road after they lost to the Clippers on Wednesday, even when Curry dropped a whole 50-piece. We discuss that right after this.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Stephen Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get into our next topic because it's quite interesting. Lamar Jackson became very vocal on Twitter after there was a report that came out that Adam Schefter confirmed the report that Lamar Jackson was offered up to $200 million, fully guaranteed by the Baltimore Ravens. It was originally a 3-year, $133 million contract, and it gets broken down with other sort of, I guess you call it not incentives, but it would be other facets that raise the price all the way up to $200 million, fully guaranteed. And it seems like the market is drying up to basically it's the Ravens, and that's it. So how many teams do you think should be interested in Lamar Jackson right now?
I think the Colts should be interested in him.
Okay.
Right? Otherwise, the rest of them have all gotten their quarterback, right? They've all gone out and made a decision. It's either the Colts or the Ravens, I think. Who else is there? I mean, if something wacky happens with Aaron Rodgers, doesn't wind up with the Jets because they can't agree on the trade, then maybe the Jets are in it too. It's not a final thing, but I think they will work out an arrangement. I think the Jets are going to dig their heels in on that trade and not give up, try not to give up that much, right? And the Packers are going to try hard to get it. So there could be a little bit of a fight there for a while before that's resolved. But I do think it will get resolved. So I think it's really the Colts and the Ravens. I don't see who else do you think is there? Anyone?
I mean, Washington, Atlanta.
Nah, I don't think Atlanta's going to do it. They're going to go with a draft pick.
They just drafted Desmond Ridder last year.
Yeah, well, they're going to give him a chance.
They also picked up Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke could be somebody that makes some noise. Yeah,
maybe.
He had some good games for Washington last year. Washington, I don't know if they haven't expressed any interest in Lamar yet.
There's a lot of rumors spreading around about the Lamar and the Washington connection, but nothing is really out there because apparently
who has Washington got right now?
Sam Howell.
That's it.
Sam Howell, yeah. That's their starting quarterback right now.
Then maybe the Commanders, but they haven't said much about it yet. Neither of the Colts, I guess, right? But they need a quarterback.
I mean,
where do the Colts draft? They're pretty high up in the draft, right? Yeah, I
believe it's fourth.
So there's a quarterback there for them if they want one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Will Levis, or apparently the report is now Frank Reich really likes Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be the fourth quarterback gone. He could be the first.
You know what?
He could be the first.
Yeah, but that would be crazy, I think.
Hey.
If the Panthers, they gave up a lot to move up to the first pick, and they would pick Richardson. He's like number 4 in my mind.
That's what the rumors are. That's what I'm saying, that Frank Reich now really likes Anthony Richardson. We'll talk about it when it gets closer to the draft, but I want to break this down for some individuals.
I think the Panthers gave up too much to move up. I really do.
It was the whole, so you
they
really
were already very high.
Yeah.
They could have Richardson where they were. Right?
Probably.
Pretty good chance of it.
With the number 9 pick, yeah, probably. But here, so Lamar is correct when he posted on Twitter. It was 3 years, $133 million fully guaranteed. That's what Schefter is saying is accurate. However, here's the thing where an agent, not you or your mom, could help you understand and explain things a little bit differently. It goes up to $175 million if he got hurt. So in retrospect now, Lamar would right now be inked at $175 million in his pocket because he just got hurt this season. Now, here's where it gets...
I think that is the weirdest thing.
Well, here's what he was... I've never heard this term before.
I've never seen anything like that
before. Here's the part that I had to look up and try to dig deep into it. If he's on... First of all, it's called a springing guarantee. It gets up to $200 million fully guaranteed on a springing guarantee, which is if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the 2026 league year. So if Lamar is on the team in 2026 by the 5th day, he nets 3 years, $200 million, which is over $66 million a year. Now, we're talking about retrospectively. Right? We're talking about in September before Lamar got hurt.
Wait a minute. That's 4 years, right? Because it would have been 2022 that they.
It would have been this season where he would have signed it. So it would have been this season, next season, and then.
Oh, really? That he wouldn't have signed it until this year?
In September, it was reported that Lamar turned down an offer, which is this offer that
September of 22.
September of this previous season that we just played.
And it would have started in the following season.
Because he was
already signed for that 1 year.
Because I'm pretty sure they franchise tagged him this past season, if I'm not mistaken. It's other okay.
He would get. It says $133 million at signing, so it would have been
when he signs it. It would be $133 million.
It was a 3-year deal.
3-year, $133 million deal. Lamar even said that's what it was on Twitter. He said $133 million for 3 years, fully guaranteed. But I need an agent. But then apparently, according to Schefter, he's confirming this report that yes, it was 3 years, $133 million guaranteed. Yeah. But also, it gets broken down to $175 million if he got hurt, and then $200 million fully guaranteed if he's on the roster 2026, 5 days into that league year. So we're talking about a guy who it's now retrospectively because we didn't know if he would get hurt, so we didn't know if he would net that other $42 million if he got hurt. So he got the extra 42 if he signed it. We're talking about a guy who gave up $66 million.
What kind of injury does he have to have in order to get the?
It just says $175 million if he got injured. He got hurt this past season.
$42 million.
An extra 42.
So does that mean if he's out one game, he gets the $42 million?
It says here. I mean, according to CBS News, broke this down better than what Schefter reported, this article that was linked to it. It's $175 million if he got injured. Who knows what that means?
I don't know what that means.
But he was out from
I guess if I were him, I'd say, you know what? I hurt my ankle. Give me $42 million. Huh? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then I would say the springing guarantee, he would say, you know what? I'm never going to get that because if I do get to $175 million, they're going to say, well, he was all banged up, so we're not going to sign him to an extension beyond that. So he loses the $25 million.
They would need to cut him.
So the best way, So best case, he'd get the 175 because he'd say I'm hurt. Even if he wasn't, he'd say I'm hurt.
So if we break that down, that would be $58 million per year, fully guaranteed.
I think he should have taken it.
I told you, $300 million for 6 years, $200 million fully guaranteed. He could have made $200 million in half the time, fully guaranteed, and he didn't take it. This is where I think it's going to get bad. Well, he didn't know he would get hurt. But under the regard of, even if it was $175 million fully guaranteed, that's $58 million. That's $8 million more than anyone per year is making right now.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake.
We didn't know the numbers. And here's the thing. Lamar will come out and say what he actually wanted.
The other thing is, how much money does any one person really need? I mean, $133
He's trying to feed a family. He's trying to feed his family.
$133 million, right? I mean, you're going to pay a lot of taxes on that money.
Depends on where you are.
But still,
depends on where you are.
Still, let's say you wind up with $80 million out of it. Do you really need much more money to live on the rest of your life? You had $80 million bucks. You could invest
value, monetary value.
Invested it at a riskless rate at 3% a year, right? 3/8, you're going to get $2.5 million a year just on doing not doing anything.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I think how much money does any one guy need?
It's the NFL. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, if they play their cards right and just invest it, in riskless stuff, 3%, and they're going to be, they can't spend it all. They'll have set for life easily.
And people are saying that Lamar doesn't want to pay agent fees. The bargaining agreement keeps the agent fees at 3%. So it's not even like he's paying his agent exorbitant sums of money. It ends at 3%. It's 3% or less.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's paying that much money to his agent. I mean,
he
compared
could
to
obviously
the
negotiate an agency fee that was less than 3% when they know he's going to get $200 million, right? 3%, 2% of $200 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're taking a look at a situation where Lamar may hold out.
$4 million. Somebody just signing that deal to get $4 million as the agent. Yeah.
Lamar, do you think Lamar will hold out now? Because he signed a non-exclusive franchise tag, which is what, $32 million? Do you think there's a serious chance? Because I don't think Lamar needs to sign it until September. I'm pretty sure sometime very, very late in the year. He doesn't need to sign it. It may be August. Do you think there's a serious chance Lamar does not play on his non-exclusive franchise tag and holds out? Because it seems like his market's all dried up. Unless teams are very, very, very quietly going about their day trying to figure out a way to pay Lamar the money.
Well, you know what? I said that the non-exclusive tag was the way for the Ravens to go.
It was smart for the Ravens.
I said it was smart for the Ravens.
Yes.
He'll go out there and test the market. And I thought that he would get at least one offer.
He deserves one.
He hasn't gotten any. He hasn't gotten any. So now he's going to think it was some sort of collusion.
That's what's being said.
And he may play the R card. It's a racism type of thing. He might say something like that.
Could be.
And now he's going to be alienated from the Ravens. And their plan backfired. Their plan is going to backfire.
I think
because nobody made an offer.
Both plans could,
nobody made an offer. So they couldn't win under either one. Nobody made an offer. Nobody wanted to give up 2 first-round draft picks for Lamar Jackson, right? That's what it comes down to, or pay the big bucks that he's going to demand. It's not over yet, but it doesn't look like he's going to get an offer. So he's going to have to go back. He lost his leverage in his bargaining position. He's got to go back to the Ravens. Who knows what they'll offer him now? They better offer him this deal. Otherwise, he's going to be angry. He's still going to be unhappy.
I still think the Ravens have the upper hand here.
Because the Ravens have the upper hand.
We offered
They have the upper hand, but they might wind up alienating him still. He may still be unhappy, right? He still could be unhappy. If they offered him this deal, he'd probably be happy. He probably would be happy because he'd say, now that it's been played out in the press and everything, and everyone's discussed it, everybody's going to look at that and say, you know what? That was a pretty good deal. That was an excellent deal. And if they offer him that again, but if they try to whittle him down now, then he's going to be very angry, I think. And I don't think it will be that will ruin the chemistry between he and the Ravens. So this is fascinating, I think.
Oh, right? It's very, very interesting.
It's fascinating.
It's backfiring in both cases because Lamar's saying, I'm worth more than Deshaun Watson. And the Ravens are like, no, close, close, but no. And then the Ravens are like, okay, what's your worth? And they're like, no one's making an offer. So Lamar is saying, I'm worth this. The Ravens are saying, no, what's your worth? A team is basically saying Lamar's worth nothing to us. And it could be that no team wants to do the homework for the Ravens because the Ravens could just come in and say, we matched that offer. And then the Ravens sit back like, okay, we didn't set the QB market. That team did. They
misplayed their hand because nobody's making an offer. They were counting on somebody to make an offer that they could match.
Do their work for them.
Nobody's done it.
Yeah.
Nobody's done it. They'd be winners if that happened.
Absolutely.
That would show what the market was. Lamar would say, you know what, that's the best offer that was out there. I got to go back. They're matching the offer. I got to go back, and I should be happy. That was what my market value is.
Yeah.
But nobody's made an offer.
So what does Lamar's what, going to sit out? Or he's going to play on a 1-year non-exclusive franchise tag? I honestly think it's a higher rate Lamar sits out than plays next year.
I don't know about that, Nate. I mean, the non-exclusive franchise is worth $32 million.
$32 million.
That's a lot of money.
But we're taking a look at a guy who for the past 2 years has said, I think I am worth this amount of money. I'm an MVP.
Okay.
I've won a playoff game. I'm a unanimous MVP.
Let's say he sits out for a year, okay? Yeah. What's his what kind of
that kills it. That kills it.
What kind of he's not going to get a big contract, right?
Kills it.
What he's better off doing is play on the non-exclusive franchise.
Hope he doesn't get hurt
for $32 million. Hope he doesn't get hurt and have a great season. Then he's a free agent, and then he's going to get a big offer.
Well, that's where the
whether it's this good or not, I don't know.
Well, that's where the Ravens come in saying,
1 year older.
He's 1 year older, and this is where the Ravens are saying. And Lamar, I think, is smart. I think Lamar's a very, very smart guy. He's probably thinking, I'm going to play $32 million on a contract on no stability. I have no contractual stability for this team or any other team for that matter. I got hurt the past 2 seasons. In the past 34 games, I've missed 10 games. I now need 12 games. I need to sit here and play $32 million and hope I don't get hurt, which could be a trend. It's been a trend the past 2 years. The Ravens are banking on some other team making a mistake and giving Lamar an offer that they could just match easy, or they're hoping they're hoping a team either makes the mistake and paying him a little enough amount that Ravens can match, or they're also banking on the chance that another team gives an insane offer. They're so desperate, like the Jets could be, make an outrageous offer, say, okay, Lamar, there you go. You're getting paid a bunch of money. We don't need to pay the money. And in return, we get 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
They're hoping another team makes a mistake because I'm going to give it to Ravens. They tried.
But they did try. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. It doesn't look like he's going to get an offer.
It really doesn't look like they're going to get an offer.
I think it's really maybe the Colts or the Commanders. Those are really those are 2 teams that potentially could make him an offer, but they haven't said anything at this point. Right? And they both have pretty high draft picks now. They want to give up 2 of the 2 first-round draft picks for that, and have to pay him an exorbitant amount of money. It'll be a lot of money. I think that this is backfired on the Ravens.
I think it's backfired on both people.
Yeah,
because Lamar's sitting here like, I turned down this contract. No team wants me. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
I'm a unanimous MVP. I've won a playoff game, and
They'll say it's collusion.
I'm the most athletic guy in the league. What's
He's going to say they colluded and that it was a setup.
No team wants to set this. No one team wants to set the market, especially for. Here's the thing. Historically, Lamar's play style has not lasted long in the league. Michael Vick changed his play very early on.
Well, guess what? He could get $42 million payment for getting hurt. I've never seen anything like that.
He would have had it netted already. He would have had $175 million. Was it? I think it was a $50
I don't know.
million?
Does it start then, or was it the next year? It was a 3-year deal. When did that kick in? He gets the signing bonus when he signed, right? He get $133 million. $133 million just to sign your name, huh?
It's a lot of money.
Guaranteed.
It's a lot of money.
Wow. I wished I had that kind of. I would take that.
Everybody wants $133 million.
I would take that in a heartbeat. Yeah.
It's interesting to see what exactly has transpired. 5th-year option last year. In 2021, he was playing on a 5th-year option. It would be this season. This past season, it would have started because this year was if I read that right, 2021 he signed. They exercised his fifth.
So it would have been
this season was his 5th year. So no, it would have started this season. He would have $133 million at signing, but it would have started this year.
On there at 26 if it wasn't starting this season.
Right. So it would have started 2023. It would have started because this past year was his 5th year's option.
Yeah.
So okay, there you go.
Well,
this is okay. Regardless of how this turns out, this is an extremely ugly situation for both sides. I think, I'm going to say right now, I think Lamar sits out. Lamar sit out.
I don't. I think he'll play.
It's going to be interesting regardless of how this turns out. But
I think, you know what? If he plays, he gets $32 million, and if he plays very well, then he's going to get a giant contract the next year.
He has to play, though.
Yeah, he has to play, and he has to stay healthy. So, I think that...
Last season, he did not... I don't care what people say. He started off above his MVP level. You could look like the first 5 games.
I just don't think... If he sits out a year, what kind of contract offer is he going to get? Do you think it's going to be great? I
think it's... honestly, if he was making up... let's say, for instance, it was a 3-year, $133 million contract without the added bonus. No team is going to pay that offer again. No team's going to give him 3 years, $133 million fully guaranteed if he sits out. Or maybe, let's say... No, let's say...
You don't know.
Well, let's see. If Rodgers retires at the end of this year, they're going to be desperate again.
Yeah.
They would pay that money.
Probably.
They would pay the amount.
Probably they would.
So, a team would need to be desperate.
He could sit out and make a ton of money. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting. And when do you think this is going to play out here?
I think this is going to be a very, very, very long process. The franchise tag does not need to be signed until right up at the beginning of the season. Huh. So it's going to be interesting to see how far this actually. So
you think he sits out the preseason then? He wouldn't even be there for
that. Maybe we'd have to see. But let's get into our last topic here. We're talking about what was it? Wednesday night's game. Yeah. Between the Warriors and Clippers. Warriors are looking horrible on the road. They do play tonight. The game starts right now. They play the Hawks on the road, so that means they're probably going to lose. But Curry dropped a 50-piece, but it didn't matter. The Warriors ended up losing 134 to 126. We got Kawhi Leonard dropping 30, Paul George dropping 24, and Russell Westbrook had a pretty good game. 15 points, 7 assists, no turnovers. So I don't know what you think of this game. And also a second question to this. Why do you think the Warriors are such a bad road team this year? We
talked about this.
1 year removed of literally an NBA championship.
Yeah. Well, I think that this proves that one guy can't carry the load in the NBA, right? Because Curry, while he dumped 50, was minus 11 when he was on the court. They were 11 points down when he was on the court. So the one guy can't do it all. That's for sure. And I think the reason they're such a lousy road team is Draymond Green.
Okay.
Yeah, his punching Jordan Poole at the beginning of in the preseason. I think that did something to the chemistry of that team, and I think that has something to do with how poorly they play on the road.
I think they create a divide between the veterans and the younger guys.
Yeah.
Because Draymond Green, before that punch, he was like the veteran leader on that team. Because
he hurt his credibility
in the locker room, at least with the younger players. I do think that matters.
And his mystique that he used to have, I thought, is a really tough guy, a really energetic guy, highly motivated guy, a guy that was viewed as a winner. He looked like a loser when he was punching Jordan Poole.
I agree with that. Curry shot 20
and he hasn't
of 28.
He hasn't played very well either this year.
He doesn't play great.
He stinks. And he wanted a max contract.
Yeah. The Warriors can move off this year, and he's going to be asking for a max.
They're smart. They didn't give him the max because he certainly isn't earning it. He had 8 points last night, hit 5 fouls, 4 turnovers, no blocks, 1 steal, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. And it wasn't a stellar game for him, that's for sure.
He's triple single for a reason.
Yeah.
Triple single.
Triple single. Hey, go for it.
Curry shot 20 of 28 when scoring 50 points. 8 of 14 from 3. 21 points in the third quarter. Like, we're talking about a guy who dropped 50 and they lost by 8.
Yeah, well, he didn't get much help. That's why.
He didn't get much help.
And his splash brother only had 15.
Look at the turnovers. 16-7. They gave the ball away.
Yeah.
The Warriors this year are actually hard.
Plus they fouled a lot more too, 25-18.
Yeah, no, that is a problem because I've said this.
Turnovers 16-7.
The Warriors are an extremely small team. The Warriors are an extremely small team.
The personal fouls and the turnovers is why they lost.
They've given up the second most personal fouls this season. They're 27th in block shots,
they're
29th in turnovers.
They were lucky they only lost by 8. I mean, the rebounds, they were out-rebounded 44-36.
The Warriors are horrible because think about this.
Now they're not horrible though. I mean, they play at home. They just beat Milwaukee.
Yes, without Giannis.
Well, that's
without
true.
Giannis. On the road, they are only better than 2 teams.
No, they don't have Wiggins.
Who are the bottom? Wiggins is dealing, according to a report, nothing is specifics come out. It's a very, very serious personal situation with his family or something. He's probably not going to be back for the entire rest of the season. Regular season and postseason. So no one knows what's going on with that. But when it comes to this team, first of all, they are so small, they don't drive. With a big guy, like we take a look at some of the big guys, they get fouled constantly. They're physical, they're big, they get fouled. The Warriors are 30th in free throw attempts. 30th. They are middle of the pack in offensive rebounds. 10th, they're somehow a top 10 team in total rebounds because they're 8th in defensive rebounds. 27th in blocks, 29th in turnovers, 29th in personal fouls. They foul, they turn the ball over, and they don't play great defense. And they also don't draw any fouls. They're a great shooting team. They're number 1 in three-point attempts. They're third in three-point percentage. They don't play great defense. I think Otto Porter and a healthy...
Nobody plays great defense anymore.
Yeah, the NBA is moving
number
towards
1 defense,
shooting.
111 points a game.
It's up there, definitely. But, like, teams on the road, the Warriors can't do anything. And now they're going up against... What's the Hawks? Are the Hawks? They're in the play-in, I believe. They're the 8th seed right now. The Warriors going up against 8th seed Hawks on the road. They're going to lose that game. Let's be honest. The Warriors are not going to beat the Hawks. The Hawks got their coach fired. Trae Young got their coach fired.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a Steve Kerr team, which is a highly intelligent offense with 3 great core pieces in Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and what seems like pretty good up-and-coming players like a Jordan Poole, like a Kuminga.
They don't have Wiggins.
They can't click.
Yeah.
They can't click, and I do think it stems back to what Draymond Green did in the preseason by punching Jordan Poole in the face.
That set the tone. Bad tone.
Yeah, it did set a tone. It didn't set a very good tone. So I think the Warriors, and we're talking about somehow they're still retained to the 6th seed. Somehow.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I said they needed to get to the 4th seed so they could outplay road to home games. So in Game 7, it could be a home game. If they're the 6th seed, they're going up against a Memphis team without Ja Morant, but Ja Morant could play as soon as Monday.
Yeah, he's going to be back.
I don't understand. It was what? He got checked into like a rehab center or whatever. He was there for what? A day, 2 days?
Yeah. And
he got suspended the NBA said he was going to be suspended 8 games, but he already took a couple games suspension so he can come back as early as Monday. I don't understand it. If he could go through that rehab as quickly as he can, great for Ja. Great for Ja. But now they have him back. I think Memphis is going to pick up exactly where they started. They slipped a little bit, but I don't know.
I think you're right.
This whole situation is a mess. The Warriors are going nowhere. They're going nowhere. They'll probably stay at the 6th seed. Then
they're going. They're not going nowhere. They're going to be in the playoffs.
They would have to play Memphis, and that series is going to be a great series. Memphis Warriors. Memphis will probably win that because the Warriors would need to play more road games than home games. But I think like the Dylan Brooks, Draymond Green. And Draymond Green's not in this game. He had a 16th tech in this game. So he's suspended for this game. Now just imagine Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green in the playoffs. Draymond Green's going to need to check himself. He can't get another tech.
He won't be able to.
He can't get another tech or he'll be suspended for one of those playoff games. And if it's a home playoff game and he's suspended, I don't think they're going to win that game either.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. On the road, when Steph Curry or Klay Thompson makes a great 3, they're not getting the roar of Chase Center. They're not getting the amazing cheers they get when Curry makes a great play or Klay makes a great play.
I wonder why that is.
Because they're on the road. That's what I'm saying. On the road, they're not getting that the love they do at home. The roar isn't there. Yeah. So I think because that gives them a little bit of a boost when they're at home.
Yeah.
And
well,
on the
they play
road,
well at home.
they have a great record. They've won the best home records. But they're only above, I believe, Houston and Detroit, maybe the Spurs.
In the road.
In road records. And they're the bottom 3 teams in the NBA. They're lottery teams. They're going to have, 25% chance to get the number 1 pick. That's how bad the Warriors are on the road. So, we're taking a look at this team. They're not really going to do much. If they are in the play-in tournament, they're not making it into the playoffs. I guarantee you they'll get eliminated if they're in the play-in tournament. But we will have to see. But I think that does wrap it up for us here at the Harvey Hour. Great episode again. Monday. We'll see if there's more news. It seems like all the big free agents are cleared up. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, that gets situated. Let's see if Rodgers actually gets traded over. Or we'll have to see. Let's see how it plays out. Will the Patriots make more free agent moves?
I hope so.
Probably not. But I think that does wrap it up for this episode. My name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. We'll catch you guys.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Grandpa.
Yeah. But for this episode, we'll see you Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Bye.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more